Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're back after international break and tons to talk about. Our new coach, old president that doesn't go away, and pleasing soccer, if you will. That and much more in another night, another podcast.
Hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo.
Quero o Benfica intimidar o adversário. Quero um manto sagrado entrar com vocês em qualquer estádio. E estamos, pá! É isso que eu quero!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Doll Benfica podcast. My name is Alfredo Fumaces, with you always, except on international breaks, every week. With me, as always, the two Oliveras, one D and one without. Cristiano Oliveira, what's happening, my friend?
I'm glad I'm one without the D. What's going on, everybody?
Without the D.
Make sure you smash the like button. Yeah, you didn't get it. One with the D. Yeah, it's whatever.
I set you up for that.
Smash the like button. All the Freddies. Yes, smash the like button. Say hello to the fellas and the gals. And Alfredo, plenty to talk about. Dave, last time you weren't on the podcast, we weren't on a good streak. Now we finally got a win and you're back, huh? That's how it is. I see.
I'm back.
That's how you do it.
Got lots to talk about.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Anyway, 535 is what we're up to. And we want to say, you already said hello to the Freddies, right? Manuel Cunha, Diogo Reis, Tony Fig, and everyone else that's going to join us a little later. We appreciate you as always. We missed you guys. We're back. And quite a bit of news that have developed. So we went out on a Roger Schmidt sacking, if you will. And now we're back with a new coach and pleasing football. I guess you could say that, even though it's a little bit too early to tell. But Cristiano, you proved us wrong, right? Because all we really needed to do is put the right guys in the right spots. Who would have thought?
Doesn't take a rocket scientist.
It's a lot harder than it seems, apparently.
Apparently.
Roger, a lot to work with Roger Schmidt. And Bruno Lage came in, and look, he must have been listening to the podcast. He switched to a 4-3-3, as I've been suggesting for the last two years. So I'm glad Bruno Lage pays attention. Como é que é, mister? Tudo bem? Está a escutar? And it worked out. That's all it takes. 4-3-3. The fellas are excited to play once again. The Stadio de Luz was rocking for all of 15 seconds, and we'll get into that in a second. But I mean, positive times here on the podcast. Excited to be back and talking about football, like actual good football, and talking about goals and talking about chances rather than. So man, fun times ahead, I hope.
Yeah. Dave, I want to get your opinion when Lage was the one, and we heard about the Lage thing having a little bit more traction than others. But when he was officially introduced, what were your thoughts?
I think given the time and the period that we're in already in not mid-season, but the season's already started. Transfer market was already closed by the time he signed. I think it's that was the best option. He already knows the infrastructure, knows the club, so it was more like a good plug and play kind of manager to get at this time. Obviously, if all things were equal and this was over the summertime, I don't think I would have appreciated or enjoyed this hiring as much as I do right now. But given the circumstances, season's already started, transfer market's already closed, not much time for the players and the managers to get affiliated with one another. I think it's the best hire that we could have made.
Yeah, and Chris, I know he wasn't your first choice, but certainly Dave touches up on a great point, which is the convenience aspect of it.
Well, eu falei tu já no Clippers. We talked about this on that podcast because all the rumors that night were
Right.
that Bruno Lage was the leading candidate. No, was it? I don't remember. I think
It was a bit
you were
ago.
mentioning that, and yeah.
You guys were still
my
talking
memory-
about you had mentioned foreign a possible foreign.
No, that's what I was gonna say, Dave.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. If my memory serves me correct, you were talking about Bruno Lage, and I said somebody told me there's
Yeah.
gonna be a foreigner. So yeah. I mean,
You gotta fire your
Look.
sources. You gotta get some new sources.
I did, Dave. I'm not sure you're aware, but I gave up my source
Your insider
career,
career.
right?
You're a Fontenario. Your
My
Fontenario
what do you
career.
call it? Font. Yeah, my Fontenario career with Cavani let me down, and so ever since then I've tried not to break too many news clips at once because it was a very tough time, and till today I still get very very pleasing direct messages on Twitter and whatnot from such beautiful people. But to answer your question, Alfredo, look, Lage, as I think I told you that night, and I've definitely told you on the phone since, when compared to some of the other names that were being thrown out, Lage was my option, was my choice. He's a guy that knows the house. He's a guy that understands Portuguese football, and I totally understand the other side of things, like the fact that he only had won 6 of his previous 31 games in charge. When the things started to crumble, I mean, they crashed quickly for Bruno Lage. But rather than be that negative Nancy, I decided, right, positive Cristiano came out and decided to look at the bright side and the positives, which were, look, there's nothing I could do about this. He's our coach. Now we just be supportive or be upset.
Yeah.
And the fact that I've been upset for the last year and a half, I chose to have a different approach.
Yep.
And I decided to look at the positive side, which was the first time that Bruno Lage was here. Benfica was 8-point in an 8-point deficit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And he was able to overturn that in the second half. Remember, he did that in 6 months. It wasn't with as much time on the schedule as he has now. This was over 6 months because Dave, Mr. Statman, will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he was appointed in January, and it took him 6 months to overturn that point total and to lift Benfica's campeonato, to lift the title. So I wanted to hold on to those points. Let's also pump the brakes a little bit. It's one game. We'll talk about the game specifics in just a second. But in terms compared to what we've been witnessing over the last few months, over the last year, man, look, it was a word that I'm reluctantly using because I used it with Roger Schmidt, but it was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
We needed this, and I think the Stadio felt it. I think the players felt it, and it was good to see at least for one night. Now, I know we have a tough schedule ahead. Champions League popping up and whatnot, and Benfica doesn't really have much margin for error. But for one day, it was good, and I just hope that the team builds off of it.
Yeah. Lage
Also, sorry, before we get into anything else, I think he's the perfect guy for a PR makeover too. I don't know if you guys caught his press introduction, the introductory press conference.
Yep.
Went and shook every single member of the media's hands, trying to get the media back on board, also trying to get the fans and the supporters back on board. So so far so good in early days of the PR image of Bruno Lage Benfica, but things can sour, but good so far.
Yeah, well, there was an incident. I don't know if you guys remember. Towards his last days, there was one time in a presser that he accused some of the newspaper guys of plotting against him. That somebody was buying him dinners and so on and so forth.
He didn't accuse. He asked. It's as if somebody's buying you dinners. It's somebody.
Right.
It's somebody buying you dinner. It's kind of like an accusation without a straight accusation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and so he had something to make up at this time.
yeah, so that handshake and it was great, and I thought it was great that he did that because it's almost like, okay, well, I know I said these things. Let's bury the hatchet. Let's start fresh, and really his message and was really of unity because he knows that if the fans are not behind this team, he's gonna have a much harder task at hand, and I think that he kind of felt that he felt um, the division that Roger Schmidt created due to his discourse, whether it was something that he was just undervalue Benfica's importance and what Benfica's values are, or would say top game, top this, and it's like throwing shit in our faces. But it was a thing that he really felt that there was a huge hole between the fan base and the coach, and I think that his speech and introduction was something that kind of went along with that. All right, let's bring the fans. The first thing that we have to do is heart in the stands and lung on the field, and I think that message was very clear, and of course he knows.
And add to that,
Yeah, go ahead.
the fact that let's not forget. I'm hoping that the people at Benfica's PR department weren't sleeping throughout Roger Schmidt's tenure, which was things really started to turn against Roger Schmidt once the media turned up.
Yeah.
After that whole controversy of are you a Sporting fan or you're a Porto fan,
Right.
and so I'm hoping that people inside Benfica were smart enough to realize that he needed to go ahead and hash that situation between him and the media and kind of like start off on a good note.
Yeah.
And because and I'm pretty sure Lage himself was paying attention to what was going on in Portugal, so it was a combination of those things. But yeah, at least somebody's paying attention now.
Yeah, coincidentally, his last game at Stadio Luz in charge of Benfica was against Santa Clara, a game that Benfica lost 4-3. So he picked up right where he left off. Just looking at some of the things that he did while away at Benfica, he was at Wolves, 51 games, 19 wins, a year and a half there, or a year and change there. Ended up getting sacked. Went to Botafogo, 15 games. Only 4 wins in those 15 games. As a matter of fact, they had like a crazy advantage over second place, and he ended up screwing that up, and Botafogo didn't win the trophy that year. Benfica's first season, 29 games, 23 wins. The second season, 47 games, 25 wins. So we'll see. To be continued in terms of what Lage's second stint at Benfica is going to be. Certainly what we saw in this game, and obviously we'll get into it in a little bit. It's definitely it's something that, and feeling the atmosphere from the stadium, it feels that the fans wanted something better, or wanted something different from all the shit that we've been eating from Roger Schmidt in this past season and a half. So I think there was a breath of fresh air. I think that there's a concerted effort from the fans that said, okay, he might have not been our choice, just like Cristiano mentioned, but we're going to rally behind him. And as long as he's true and fair, and another thing that he promised was, I'm not, that old cliche, I'm not promising titles. All I'm promising is hard work and really honoring the shirt that we wear. It's those cliches, those made phrases that come out, but certainly I think that you could see on Sunday. Was it Sunday? The game Sunday or Saturday? Saturday.
Saturday
Was
Saturday.
That we could see on Saturday that there was a different vibe. There was a different vibe during the game from the fans, and we'll get into it in a little bit. But the other thing that I wanted to touch up before we move on to the game is Luis Felipe Vieira gave an interview to Correio da Manhã, or CMTV. Obviously, the timing was never going to be the right timing, right? It hasn't been the right timing for Luis Felipe Vieira in the past 4 or 5 years. Why doesn't he just stay where he is? But look, somebody needed to give him some attention. He needed some attention. He called out Rui Costa on a lot of things that we probably already knew. A lot of them were related to his incompetence and the way he conducts himself and the way he communicates with the people that work under him, saying that he calls everybody "Oh Manu, oh Manu, oh Manu." But look, at the end of the day, it's like that wife that got divorced that harbors all these resentful thoughts about the husband, so on and so forth. But he just proved that. He said that Rui Costa was incompetent. We already knew that. He apologized for picking him as a successor. So you put him there basically. So a lot of that blame is on you. Benfica, I know that there's a lot of fans clamoring for him to be kicked out of the club. I don't think that Benfica could do anything like that yet without having proper reason. And I think that if he does, in fact, if he's charged and found guilty of some of the few processes, judicial processes that.
But wait, he has been charged. When you say proper reason, he has been charged.
Been charged,
now.
But he's
but he hasn't been found guilty. He hasn't
correct.
Been convicted.
Correct. So,
but with that said, I mean, how about some common sense, some respect for self, right? In terms of, let's stay away until this is,
but
settled. How about on both sides, right?
He doesn't.
How about Benfica themselves having some common sense, having some logic in this whole situation, and him, like, as far as him, he's gonna want attention. He's craving attention. That's just the way things are. That's why he gave that interview to CMTV. But I think everyone that's paying attention to what he's saying, and I understand things right now towards Rui Costa are not good, but just because you're unhappy with Rui Costa's management of this club at the moment doesn't mean that you should also take everything that Luis Oliveira says, seriously as well. You know what I'm saying? Let's remember who it's coming from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris, what do you think his end game is in terms with this interview? Do you think he's positioning himself for next elections?
I think it's someone who's craving attention, someone who misses the attention, who misses the spotlight. When you're the president of Sport Lisboa Benfica, you are, some might say, the most powerful man in the country. You know what I'm saying? So pretty sure he misses that. He wants to be in the limelight once again. And he just, I look, man, part of me, Alfredo, to be honest, part of me, last week before this whole interview, going into it, I thought that that's exactly what he was looking to do. But then he kind of distanced himself from it. So at this point, I don't know. I think he's just looking for some credibility. He's trying to clean his name because right now it's a perfect opportunity, considering how things at the club have gone. It seems like everything that Rui Costa promised is the opposite is happening. Young players are leaving. The fan base is not happy. The results haven't been there. So I think he jumped on the opportunity to come in and make the other guy look bad because he's upset that the other guy turned his back on him. So I think it's just very unprofessional on everybody's part. CMTV did what they had to do. Look, their job is to get viewers. Their job is to get stories like this. It's up to the participants to realize and have some more respect for the structura and the club that they represented, a club that's done a lot for them as well. But this guy thinks he invented Benfica. He thinks he's causing them yell, unfortunately. Right. So I'm not sure what his game plan is here. I would not be shocked either way, though, Alfredo. Yeah. If he's gonna try to run in the next summer or next fall, or not. Look, at this point, nothing that he does, nothing that these clowns do surprises me.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right. Turning our
Dave, hold on. What about Dave? Dave, you think he's positioning?
I don't know if he's positioning, but I think I agree. I got a chuckle and I agree with you. I think it's somebody that definitely craves the attention, and whenever he has the ability to have a microphone or a camera in his face, he's gonna not turn that down. So I don't see a world that he goes for re-election and he thinks he has a chance in winning. But who knows? Maybe there's that secret society that we're not a part of that'll get him reelected. But I think he's craving attention.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I do think that he's craving attention like he always does. He thinks that he's the freaking supreme being. That he's like Cristiano says, the quasi Corjum de Milhão, because Benfica only exists from 2008. Well, Benfica only exists from 2008 on. There's nothing else. What does he say? Eu pus as pedras da calçada. Look.
Ask the Freddy's. Go ahead, hit us up on the. You guys are quiet today.
Yeah, they're quiet. They are quiet today.
Yeah, they're quiet. Everybody's quiet. You know what it is? The old Reyes and I are stirring it up.
He was here,
but he left. He had to go play hockey.
Oh.
So, no, I think he's a stick boy at his local hockey team. He just stands out sticks on the bench. But yeah, Freddy's, what's up? Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah. So after the international break, everybody was raring to get back into domestic business, and with the new coach now and the new signings, few guys that we got on the last minute, on the last few days of the transfer window. We're talking about what is it? Artur Koglu, that one specifically. Amaduni, like Cristiano likes to call him, and Cabaret. Cabaret was the other one. The Cabore.
He didn't play.
But everybody's excited to see that. No, he didn't play at all.
Okay. I was going to say, did I miss it? I was like,
yeah. So
he was on the bench, but
Benfica was at home, packed house, 60,000. Trubin was in goal. Bas Silva, Otamendi, Carreras. In the midfield, the new change, Tino, was behind Brolheiser and Kokshu. On the wings, Di Maria and Artur Koglu, and up front, Pavlidis. 2 days of training, so not much work done by Lage with these players. But all he really had to do is put the players in the right position and change the team a little bit to play it to the best possible way that they could play. So Cristiano has been talking about that three-man midfield for a while. That, look, if we're going to have a destroyer that doesn't really build, just let him sit behind two guys that could build and just balance it out. Just faz as dobras. Faz a dobra aqui, faz a dobra ali, and that's all you have to do. And once you get the ball, just hand it off and let the other guys do the building. So we've been talking about that for quite some time. And we saw it. It wasn't the best start of game for Benfica, as Otamendi with a blunder on his part missed the ball, and the Santa Clara play was on 1v1 with Trubin and just put it over his head and into the goal. So it wasn't that start that Benfica wanted, but and here's another example of why. There's a different feeling at the stadium. Benfica allowed the goal, and right after that, you could feel the stadium, bubbling up in terms of support. Like, let's go, this is okay. It's early, let's go, let's do this. And I think that's.
I don't know, man. It was quiet.
You didn't think so?
It was quiet. I mean, eventually it started to ramp up, but it was at first. It was like, what the. It was like a funeral as soon as that goal went in. Right, Dave? It was dead silent.
It was shock. It was shock for everybody.
It was shocked, and everybody saw. But due to the fact that it was early enough and playing against the almighty Santa Clara, everybody, started to realize, okay, look, these guys haven't played together. They're going to start picking it up. And as the team started to pick up the pace, the crowd started to get in behind them, and then chances started coming.
Yeah.
But even until that Artur Koglu goal, unless I'm forgetting.
No, they were back before the goal because Lage was
No, I know. Yeah, no, what I'm saying though, Dave, is you're right, but I'm saying initially for like the first 5 minutes or so, it wasn't like the goal happened and they started clapping. Right, it was somber, and then as the team started to pick up their pace, the crowd started picking it up, their support as well. And then I was going to say, I don't think there was a clear. I mean, maybe I'm forgetting, right? But was there like a clear-cut chance before that goal? It was a bunch of control around the box, but it was nothing really. Am I forgetting?
Yeah, there was
Nothing really,
yeah,
but there was a couple of shots outside the box, but nothing really on target that really
Yeah, that's
tested
what I'm
the
saying.
there was a shot
Okay.
blocked almost inside the 6 prior to the goal. That's the only thing that I can think of in terms
We got to
of
start doing
creating a
these
chance.
podcasts after the game because we come here 4 days later. Já esqueceu tudo.
That's why you gotta go watch the resume, pa.
I watched the Zoom again. That's how I used to do a lot of podcasts, remember? But that's another conversation. But yeah, I mean, look, Bruno Lage was into it. I think Bruno Lage really he read the headlines from everybody critiquing him and saying that he was too calm and whatever. I think he's making a point of it this time to come out here and ramp everyone
He was
up and
into
get
it.
behind the players. He was into it. I mean, then again, he's back to Benfica after going to Wolverhampton and Botafogo. Back to Benfica, bro. Shit, you appreciate it. You know where
Yeah.
you're at. So my man's gonna make sure he doesn't fumble this one.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's early, right? So in the 28th minute, Artur Koglu debut goal for Benfica, a little chip pass from Kokshu, and a little cheeky side of the boot to the far side.
Opposite post.
Yeah, to the opposite post. Nice goal by the new guy, and clearly, I think
New guy got a name, bro. New guy got a name. Okay,
What is it?
the new guy.
Artur
Artur
Koglu.
Golus.
Artur
Artur
Golus.
Koglu. Artur
I was gonna
Koglu.
call him the Turkish Rafa because everything that I read about him prior to seeing him and then seeing him how he plays, he kind of reminds me of Rafa. So we sent Rafa to Turkey and we got this Artur Golu.
We got a younger version. A younger version.
Yeah, there we go. So I'll
And
I'm much
this
happier
one
with him.
and this one brings a magic wand.
That's it. Hey, he brings the magic one and Rafa disappears midway through the season. So put
Hey,
that
Rafa.
one.
Rafa is getting something at Besiktas that he didn't get at Benfica for many years, which is they're starting to crack down on him like they did in Portugal, hitting him or whatever. But his club is coming out in his support and saying that can't kill on. You're gonna kill him. You're gonna wind
Paid
up
a lot
killing
of
him,
money
they said.
for him.
Yeah, no, they got him for free, but they're paying him a lot of money yearly. Yes, salary wise, but yeah, they're at Benfica. The guy got smashed every week, and nobody ever said a peep. So
Nope.
credit to the Turks for realizing that
good
they
for
have
him.
a player that's really helped them out. But bringing it back to Benfica, yeah, Arturo Kuglu, who you could tell was trying to get into the game up until that point, hadn't done much also. But he got that goal, and it's like everybody in the stadium breathed a sigh of relief, and it was like, okay, we're back in this. There's still plenty of time to turn this thing around, and then I think it was one of the better Koksu games of his Benfica career. Guys started to pick up their game, pick up their pace, really started to put the pressure, and it was good to see.
Yeah,
it was good to see
Yeah.
everybody get behind. But like, let's look like Kevin Martin says here.
Yep.
In the live chat, he says, let's take it one game at a time and not get in over our heads. I mean, that's practically what we said before. But it's still good for one game. Hey, I'll take this over that misery shit.
Yeah.
And playing 98 minutes and not creating one scoring opportunity.
I can't remember last time I saw the team play like this under Roger Schmidt. And by no stretch of the imagination was this a solid performance, right? Because you see the dynamics, you see the movement, but there still lacks the timing is off sometimes, because sometimes you'd see a pass that's behind the guy, right? So the mechanisms and the dynamics are we could see them there. The execution still lacks a little bit of timing, right? It's like synchronized swimming. The more you do it, the more in sync that you become. And 2 days is not really enough, but look, it's a breath of fresh air, I think, to be able to see this. Even Tino got on.
Wait, before Tino, come on, Tino's the worst player in the field by far. Don't even say even Tino.
Even Tino got on a scoreboard.
I know. What is his first goal that started to lose, right? If I'm not mistaken,
something like that.
And even with that goal, he was still horrible. But going back to the beginning, I just wanted to clear this up because I don't know how you guys feel. I don't know, Dave. I don't know how you feel, but I'm still on the Antonio Silva Otamendi bandwagon. I do like the other kid a lot. Not saying that in a month or 2 months he won't be my option, but today, and considering this very first game on the Bruno Lage at home, I thought it was Otamendi and Tino and not Tino. I'm sorry, Antonio Silva. But then as I'm saying this, as I'm thinking this, okay, yeah, this game, and then he commits that blunder.
Mm.
I just knew I was gonna have to hear it, but he redeemed himself. I think he had another mistake later on in the game that I didn't like to see from him, but he redeemed himself. So I just wanted to clear that up because I know a lot of you guys saw me on Twitter posting that I'll still start Otamendi. So maybe in a month, maybe in 2 months, Araujo will be the option, but because I do believe that at some point we're gonna have to start to phase Otamendi out due to the fact he's not coming back next year. I don't owe you anything going forward, and I want to get my players ready for the future as well because football doesn't stop.
Yeah,
and then I'll add a little bit more to that because I wanted to say something about the second half substitutions and stuff like that. So we'll talk about first half, second half, and then I'll add that.
Yeah.
After.
Otamendi had the assist for Tino, but I think as we saw Otamendi last year. There's a bit of a decline in terms of Otamendi because he's always been a guy that is that's gone for those very, very tight tackles. And while he was younger, that was helping him out a lot. He was able to get to them early, or if he just missed them, he was able to recover. Now, at an older age, he maybe doesn't have the flexibility that he used to have once, the reach that he used to have once. So I think that we're probably going to see a few more of those from Otamendi because that's just the style that he plays. Vai sempre a queima. He goes right on top of it. And if a guy just toe pokes the ball away, he's beat and he's gone. But look, yeah, what Cristiano is saying, I think sometimes it's tough to phase out a leadership voice like that from the locker room, and not from the locker room, but from the starting 11. But I think that I'm not worried about his secession, especially if Tomás Araújo continues to be around. But it is what it is. So that goal would send Benfica into the locker room up 2-1. And it wasn't a bad half. 42nd half, right in the beginning of the second half, Tony Silva put us up 3-1 off of a Koksu corner. We haven't scored a corner in quite a bit, Dave, and I don't know if you have those stats, but 58 minutes. What?
No, and even if I'm not mistaken, even the
other one was
goal.
That was from a corner.
Was a corner as well.
Yes.
So I mean, we didn't score a goal off of a set piece or a corner, and God knows how long. And then Bruno Lage, the magician, comes in the first 47 minutes. I mean,
the magician
can't have it better.
O mágico, parece o gajo que faz o comentário, o mágico. Ou como é que ele chama? Paulo Catarro? Não. Your favorite announcer? Your favorite Benfica announcer? Elder Conduto.
Oh, Elder Conduto.
O mágico.
Come on,
Lage, o mágico das bolas paradas.
No, but mágico, he was calling Koksu.
Yeah.
He was calling Koksu the mágico.
Yeah, he used to call your homeboy Le Magicien. É,
pá, isso já é muita. Isso não percebo dessas linhas. Yo, Ozzy Benfiquista says we need Otamendi for experience in the backline, which I do agree. Again, eventually, as I said before, eventually, the other guys will probably win out the spot. But for now, Otamendi's still a very experienced player, a voice that these youngsters look up to in the locker room. And you need these types of players because, look, in a game like this where he commits a mistake, right? He commits a mistake and then it leads to a goal. You need that veteran, that experienced voice to get the guys ready, to get the guys' mentality to change quickly and to motivate guys to go forward. Whereas maybe an inexperienced guy commits that mistake and then he goes down. You know what I mean? So, again, you need these types of players on the field, man.
Yeah.
You need them to uplift the rest of his teammates. And they won the game. So, look, mistakes are going to happen, right? Some are costly than others. As we talk about Antonio Silva in the Euro, he committed that big gaffe. We still love him. Doesn't take away from his qualities, but mistakes do happen. Yeah. And so some players are held to different standards, which sometimes I don't like. But mistakes happen, and Otamendi is going to commit some, and so is Antonio Silva, so is Bas, so is Truman. But the important thing is that they got right back on the horse and turned things around and had that positive attitude to turn things around. And again, I'm a firm believer that if I'm ever going to give up a goal, I'd rather be in the first 20 seconds rather than in the last 20 seconds.
Right.
So.
For sure. So after the 4-1, substitutions came in. 67th minute, Amdouni came in for Rollheiser. 73rd minute, Prestiani for Turkoglu and Sheldrup for Di Maria. And then at 81st minute, Barreiro, Kokshu, Cabral for Pavlidis. Chris, you wanted to talk about the subs?
No, basically what I wanted to say about the subs is the subs is that, props to Bruno Lage. Job well done by Bruno Lage, because this is exactly what I've been screaming about from Roger Schmidt the last couple of seasons, which is the proper rotating of the squad. Di Maria, the game was out of hand. No reason to have him play 80 minutes, get the player off the field. Same thing, and then on top of it, you're bringing in two youngsters and a Sheldrup and a Cristiani, guys that are not ready at this stage, but you need to play in order to develop and get to this stage. And so I thought, he took care of two things at once: resting the senior, the elder statesman, and at the same time giving the youngsters some minutes, which I think it's important. It's key. You're going to keep guys fresh. You're going to keep the guys on the bench motivated, because now they're going to see these young kids playing. They're going to say, "Look, my moment is around the corner. I have to stay ready." So it's a positive outlook from the coaching staff. It's something I thought that should have been done, and I think it should be done at every club, not just at Benfica. I don't care what club it is. When you have players of stature that the game is out of hand, you got youngsters that you're looking to unleash in the next season or so, next few months or whatever. You need to get these kids prepared to play on your team. I think it's smart management, and so props to Bruno Lage. And hopefully it's a coach that's learned from his past failures, bro. But for game one, so far so good.
Yeah,
I did like it.
And I think that's exactly right, and it keeps these players motivated, Cristiano, like you mentioned, and builds their confidence also, right? Because now if they're getting burned, while it doesn't depend on them for them to come in and change something about the game, right? It's a different setting, it's a different context. It allows them to have less pressure on them to perform. Right, go out there. The jogo está resolvido. The game is done. Just go out there and do your thing. Do the thing that you know. And perhaps coming into the game like that without pressure is perfect as a stepping stone to build my confidence, get burn time with my teammates, and maybe next time if I come in and something is needed for me, I'm motivated, but I'm also confident that I could do that. And I thought, like Cristiano mentioned, I thought there was a really good look by Lage to do that. And look, at the end of the day, I thought it was a decent game. It was a breath of fresh air from what we had seen from Benfica, from Roger Schmidt. And I just hope that we could build on this. And I think, as Cristiano mentioned, I think that every Benfica's hope is that Bruno Lage has learned from his mistakes, both during the time that he left Benfica, but also while he was at Wolves and at Botafogo. And I think that maybe this is a different Lage. Everybody would like to think that this is a different Lage that could continue to push the buttons and continue to be an innovator in terms of Benfica's tactics to really put out a good product and bring the fan base back to this.
If you guys allow me, since we're talking on the subject, if you guys allow me, Dave, I know you haven't touched up on this game, but I want to jump in real quick, and then I want to hear your thoughts. If you guys allow me to give my chicken fingers award to somebody while we're talking,
right,
keeping it in context with the picture on YouTube, and I just wanted to say my chicken fingers award goes to Angel Di Maria for that masterful finish.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have had the chance to. I know it's circling around on Twitter. The Brazilian announcer criticizing killing Di Maria practically for not really adding much to this game, and a player that doesn't do much. And then all of a sudden Bob puts him 1-on-1 and he chips the goalie. That beautiful chip that was world class. And so before we get any further, Alfredo, that's my chicken fingers award. He goes to Angel Di Maria.
Yeah, look, I think that there's not a lot of people that are capable of that execution with the outside of the boot. It's tough. It's got to be nicely weighted to get that ball over the goalkeeper, especially with the outside of the boot. But yeah, look,
I mean, I could do it, Alfredo.
I know you could do it,
but you know,
I know you
I'm
could do
one
it.
of the few. I'm one of the few.
Dave,
Dave, do you have a Chicken Fingers award recipient, or you're good with just?
I'm good with yours, but one player, I know it's small sample size and the game was already out of hand, but let's keep an eye on Cabral, Mr. Picanha.
Oof.
Not chicken fingers, but Picanha. Let's see if I think he's going to be motivated with a new
For
coach.
sure.
I know this past week in the papers there was, I think it was Abola was saying that there was a rift between the Brazilians and Schmidt. So Cabral looked like he was motivated in the 10 minutes that he was in there. He was looking better than I've seen him the last couple of times. So let's keep an eye on him and see
Dave,
how he progresses under Lage.
let's put the rumors to bed, Dave. Don't start no rumors. No, Roger Schmidt was not wearing a 7-1 shirt in the locker room all the time around Brazil. Dave, all right, don't start any rumors here on the podcast.
Yeah. So yeah, I like what I saw from Cabral. He passed the ball to Amdouni, which wasted
himself, and he took up the field. My man was hungry. Talk about Pican, he was hungry. When he took off from his own side of the field, he tried to fake everyone out. It was like, whoa, my man.
Yeah.
He feels like he's been let loose.
And this was a guy that was apparently on his way out 2 or 3 weeks ago too, but
he's got a new life.
But
Dave, stats so we can move.
Yeah, the only stat I had was about the 2 corners, goals coming from the 2 corners. That's only the 3rd time since 2018 that Benfica has scored 2 corners in a game there.
Yeah. All right.
Good to see. Good to see.
Of course. Up next, Thursday marks Benfica's debut in the new format Champions League match day 1. Benfica will travel to Serbia to play Red Star. And obviously, Thursday games for Champions League is also new. It's part of the format. New format. Benfica will play 8 games in this open division. 4 at home, 4 away, obviously. And then I think the way it works is I forget how it breaks down. I think the 1 through 16.
Top 8 go in automatically,
right.
And then the next 16 play each other. It's
right. Seeding.
So 9 will play 24, 10 will play 23, 11, so forth. And so they'll play 2 legs. One again, obviously, with an aggregate, with the higher aggregate going through to the quarterfinals.
Yeah. The game is on Thursday, as I mentioned, 5:45 local, which is 12:45 here in the U.S. I think that's what time the early games kicked off today. Domestically,
I don't know. Isn't Serbia 6 hours ahead? They're going to be 6 hours.
It said 5:45.
Yeah, but it's still going to be 12:45 over here on the East Coast.
Yeah, it's 12. Unless 5:45 when I looked, it was Lisbon time. Maybe that's it. I think Serbia is. You're right. But I think it does line up with the 12 o'clock kickoff.
Okay, that has to see. Alguém aqui no podcast tem que saber logistics, essas coisas todas. Tem que ser.
Yeah.
We always get that right?
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
Domestically, Red Star 6 wins, 1 tie, 21 goals allowed, 21 goals scored, 4 allowed. So, and look, we're talking about Serbia. There's 2 or 3 teams that people that know European football know. But other than that, not much else. But it's not going to be easy for Benfica playing in Serbia. Usually those stadiums at the Maracanã with the K. Usually those stadiums pack a nice little crowd, and there's a good homey atmosphere at those stadiums. But look, I think that Benfica has more than the right quality to be able to get past Red Star. After Red Star, Benfica will then have come back to Portugal, and they will travel to Porto on Monday to play Boa Vista at Estádio do Bessa. Monday 8:15 local. And Dave, what's Boa Vista up to?
Currently they're 13th with 1 win, 2 draws, 2 defeats this season. 3 goals scored, 4 goals against through the first 5 matches. Historically, 78 wins, 34 draws, and 21 defeats. The last 10, 6 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats, but the last 5 at the best, only 2 wins, 1 draw, and 2 defeats. And last season, to open the season, we dropped points,
Yep.
all 3 points, 3 to defeat there at the best. So
I remember all too well. I was there. I remember all too well. Yep. So, look, I think no games are easy anymore. But I think if we do our homework and we play to our capabilities and the players in the right spots and the right tactics fit the team's qualities, I think that we have a good chance of creating momentum, because I don't think we play one of our direct rivals until November, and I believe that's Porto. So it gives us a little bit of time to kind of build up. Also have Champions League games during that time from here till then. So it's just it's just one game at a time, like somebody was saying on a chat. Let's not get too crazy in terms of what we saw. And as I mentioned, it was a solid performance, but it wasn't like something that's, oh my God, we're gonna kill the rest of the league. No, it's just one game at a time. Make sure players stay healthy. And speaking to that, not Sanchez is hurt, if you haven't heard. But make sure people are healthy and make sure that we're getting the most out of the players. I think that's all we can do. And one game at a time. It's a deficit. There's no use to looking at the table and seeing the deficit. You just got to go in every weekend and do your job. Do your job. That's all you can do. That deficit to Sporting, which is now five points, you play Sporting twice. There's 6 points up for grabs on that. So you still have something to say. It's not completely lost, but just take it one game at a time. That's all we can do. What else did I want to say? Somebody was saying that Zach was saying Auschwitz must be on suicide watch with this man Schmidt gone. Chris, how do you, when Auschwitz is back to fitness, where do you see him fit in this squad?
Right beside Koksu.
Yeah.
Roheiser unfortunately has to go to the bench, and Auschwitz, I think, will take his spot, and I'd play him in a box-to-box role. Let him just roam around, do what he likes to do. I think he's a much better option in the middle than he is on the wing. I never liked him playing on the wing. For those of you who listen to the podcast over the years, know very well that I was a big critic of him, and on one side and Romario on the other side. I never understood how that quite worked. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad that we finally do have wingers. I don't see Lage sitting Artokoglu or Di Maria or whomever to put Auschwitz out on the wing. I mean, for one game, you never know, but in terms of a more consistent basis against the better teams, he's going to have to fill his best 11. And I think Auschwitz alongside Koksu is going to give this team another quality player that can both attack and defend. And I welcome it with open eyes. I'm very excited to see what he can do in this formation, in this team, and this tactics from Bruno Lage going forward. I see it with good eyes, but I can't.
Yeah.
Wait until I don't know when's he back, Dave?
I don't know. Maybe I think he's probably week to week now.
Yeah, it'll be soon. Yeah,
I'd say at least soon. A couple weeks. But
I said soon. He says a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't know because I don't think Benfica is updated or have shown that he's training on a pitch. So I don't. Maybe he is close. But Chris, would out of the players that are available to play in that position, Auschwitz would still be the partner that you'd select for Koksu?
Yeah, out of the guys on the team, it's him, and then obviously Renato. If Renato is healthy, and that'd be my trio in the middle out of the current players on this roster. I think you can get between the three of them, you could get plenty of attacking, plenty of ball moving going forward, obviously.
Yeah.
And they'll do fine defending. But then when you play the the bigger teams, then you're gonna have to make some adjustments. You might want to bring in a more defensive-minded player like a Florentino. But I think for most of the games where Benfica is going to have possession, Benfica is looking to create chances. You don't really need a player with that defensive mind. I think between Renato and between Ausens, I think they could cover it
Yeah.
relatively easily. So, yeah, I mean, to me, I'm always the type of guy that's going to want to go forward. I want to create chances. I want to have ball possession. And I think that if healthy, that's my best trio. And then in the more serious situation in the game that you're going to have to be defending a lot more and trying to gain possession back and press, then Tino's the guy to maybe playing, and you'll move Renato back to the bench. Because look, you could kill two birds with one stone there, right? You're bringing in a defensive presence, and then at the same time, you give Renato a break so he doesn't get injured, which is not a bad thing. But first, he has to get healthy in order to get back on the field.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, look, nothing but good things to look forward from this Benfica team, and let's hope that the team could pick up on the momentum or on their effort this past weekend. Like I said, they'll have a chance against Red Star, which is not going to be a very easy game for them. But look, it's just another chance and another test for this young team, young in terms of under Lage. What else can we talk about? I think that's it, right? We covered everything. Cristiano said today he wasn't going to talk a lot, so we're at 51 minutes.
I want Dave to talk.
We got lots covered.
Yeah, we sure did. We sure did. Zach says Renato will never be healthy. It's our seasonal PSG scam. Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Look, if Renato doesn't find a way to be on the field for at least 70% of our games, yeah, I'm really going to start to believe in that curse. It's like I do in the Bella Gutman curse. But until then, I'm being optimistic. Renato plays 70%. I'm hoping and praying.
I hope so too. I really do. But anyway, excited about this Benfica team and can't wait for Thursday to roll around and watch the team again. So,
and the Maracanã, that's a pretty intimidating place. They packed 53,000, and it'll be packed all right. Yep. And I've had these conversations with Hugo going back and forth because Hugo thinks it's going to be a pretty easy game, and I think the atmosphere is going to obviously keep some of the Benfica players on their toes. But on paper, Benfica should win this game. I mean, if you're ever going to get 3 points with this type of schedule that Benfica faces in this new Champions League format, these are 3 points that you absolutely have to get if you have any aspirations of getting through. So things will be tough. It's not going to be an easy day. It's not going to be walk in the park, but it'll tell me a lot about Bruno Lage and his men on Thursday if they're able to come away with the victory over here in Serbia.
For sure. Manny Villadon says, notice no details came yet on Schmidt contract cancellation.
I can care less at this point.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, look, Manny and everybody else, I don't understand. I'm going to say something that Alfredo's heard me say a million gazillion times, which is, I don't know if it happens at other clubs. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't pay attention to other clubs the way I pay attention to Benfica, but I feel like Benfica used to worry too much about these types of things and about money, what you got to pay players, what you got to pay coaches. Like, as it's not coming out of my pocket. They made a decision to part ways with the coach. At this point, it is what it is. This is out of my control. I'm trying to focus on what's ahead, our games, and our and our new coach, rather than pay attention to someone who, obviously, I told you guys here on the podcast, and I told Alfredo, it just seemed like the guy was here against his will. It seemed like towards the end, I remember even mentioning, I feel like this guy's sabotaging his thing, sabotaging his way through Benfica because of the substitutions, the stuff of coming against the supporters. I just, once you come after the supporters, to me, I think that's you're never going to win that battle unless you go out and win the Champions League. And then, the fans will have to shut up. But it just seemed like the dude was disgruntled. So, you know what? Arrivederci. I don't know how to say adeus in German. So have fun. Do what you got to do. Appreciate your time. Thank you for your one title. Thank you for those amazing 6 months. But now I could care less if he has to pay him in full, if they have to pay him, and in prestações. But look, at the end of the day, I know what a contract is. We all know what contracts are. Benfica has to pay him whatever they owe him on that contract every single second. I could care less how they do it at this point.
Yep. All right. All right, y'all. Nice
Now that
seeing.
we want to leave, everybody's starting to talk.
Manuel Acuna says, for the first time in a while, I am excited to watch and discuss everything Benfica. I feel like a fan reborn. It's nice to have this positivity around the team. It no longer feels like a chore to watch. Yep. Felt good, man. Felt good. Felt excited. Hopefully good things are coming. That's all I got to say. Take care, y'all. Chris, Dave, always nice to see you, my friends. See ya.
Love you guys.